We are back with LJ from Chesapeake. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Thank you so much for coming out and joining us. If you could start off by describing your childhood.
My childhood was probably like what a lot of people say, like picture perfect. I had an older brother. My parents were married. I played softball. I did it all. I cheered. It was just, I got to go out with my friends. I didn't have to work. My parents took care of me. So it was really good. And like, I love sports. I actually hurt my knee playing volleyball. And that's kind of like where my whole story starts.
Okay. So
around that time.
Yeah. So what happened?
I blew out my knee. Could not play anymore. Kind of depressed about it. So I just started going out with my friends on the weekends. Started drinking. Drank a lot. And then one night at a party, one of my friends was like, "Hey, here, try this." And I did. And I fell in love like I've never fell in love before. So then it became a huge, like, I had to do Xanaxes every day. And then I met this guy. He was great. I ended up pregnant. I was doing Xanaxes every day. I was drinking constantly. I actually had a miscarriage when I was 16 years old. And I was really sick and I was hurting. I had went to one of my friend's house and her dad had just had surgery. So, the saying, like, the doctor gives you these medication for pain. I was in pain. It was more of like a mental pain than a physical pain, but I took one and I was still hurting. So I took another one and I was still hurting. So I ended up taking quite a few of them. And I've never really told I ended up doing everything I could to possibly find them. And after I'd lost the baby, I actually met my oldest son's father. I got pregnant with my son and I was so mad at first. I was like, why me? Like, I just killed my baby because, I couldn't stop. But when I first got pregnant, I decided I was going to do it the right way. I went to the doctor, did the prenatal vitamins, did everything the right way. It was kind of, weird being in high school, having a baby. When I walked across the stage, my son had just started walking. He's actually 21 now. So that, so I got clean then.
Okay.
And I was clean. I had 2 more children, married, divorced, like, the whole fun thing. But, excuse me. In the time frame that I was clean, I met this guy. He was in active addiction. I had this whole mentality of like, I'm going to save everybody. Let me save you. I can't save anybody, but I wanted to. So I met this guy. He was in rehab. He came out. He ended up relapsing. It was a very hard time for my kids. He was not very nice to them. I worked all the time, so I wasn't around. Definitely, the people thing is definitely a big thing. So, yeah.
And then what actually, during that period of time when you said that you were clean, were you actively working a program? What was your life like?
I wasn't actively working a program. In all honesty, like, I was a young mother. I graduated high school. I went to college. Honestly, Kobe kept me very busy. I focused on my son. I focused on everybody else around me to the point that I lost myself in the mix, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, probably codependency.
Bad.
Okay.
Very much so. I was dating this guy. I was working in treatment. He had relapsed. He was getting high, and I thought I could fix him. I didn't want to, I loved him. I didn't want to let him go. So I stuck with him, and I ended up I ended up relapsing with him, and it was a one-time thing. And that one time, like it was over. That was my initial relapse. That was in 2016.
Okay. And can you talk about how that progressed then?
I went from like doing it once a week to like a couple times a week to like every day to all day long. We had to move out of our home on May 1st, at the one we were in at the time. And my son graduated high school May 21st, I think, 20th or 21st. So my daughter and I stayed together. We went to a friend's house. My son went to one of his friends' houses. And I just kind of, and my other daughter, she was with her grandparents at this time. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of felt like I was losing everything. And in the back of my head, I heard, my ex, how he would tell me like my kids would be better off without me. I wasn't shit. And I just kept telling myself that over and over and over again. I stopped reaching out as much to my older daughter. My younger daughter, she'd want to play, to do this, watch a movie. I didn't want to. And then I just kept going. And by now, like at this point, it's like 2018. I went to jail. So when I got out, I didn't get high. However, I instead started selling and transporting from Columbus, places like that. I thought that was better because I wasn't using, so it was fine. I also didn't drop my daughter off, with just anybody. My daughter went with me. And it wasn't until I went to rehab and I said that out loud that I realized, holy shit, I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm a train wreck. But, so I did that for a little bit. And the last run that I did, he told me I needed to bring somebody with me that I trusted. And my best friends, I trusted her with my life. I relapsed again that night with her, and I got really high and decided I wanted to go spend time with my daughter. So I left the hotel that we were in, and I got a phone call asking if I'd heard from her, and I hadn't, and they wanted to know where she was at, but she had made me promise, like, I would not tell anybody where she was staying or anything like that. So instead, I got up and I got dressed and I went to go look for her. And I was beating on her door at the hotel. I'm on the phone with her niece, and I knew instantly something wasn't right. Her niece showed up, and she kicked in the door to the hotel room. I had sent her boyfriend to go get Narcan, and while she was on the phone with 911, I knew it was too late. So that day I lost my best friend, and I went to jail the next morning. I ended up going to rehab, and I made it about 10 days out of rehab before I relapsed again. And then I just went down again, and this time I had completed probation, felony probation. So I had nothing holding me back now. Me and one of my friends, we started, doing the runs again. Mm-hmm. That quick money, and then I met another guy. My fiance now, we met. He was in rehab, and I was in active addiction. Kind of doesn't go good together. It was pretty rough. We were both on meth, very bad. I lost a whole person. I had lost so much weight. My son actually told me that he would take my daughter from me and I'd never see her again. And at this point, he could have. He was doing really well for himself. I wanted to numb myself, so I just kept getting high. Jordan showed up. We, tried to work things out, and I was telling him, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go get clean. Let's go together. He you know, he was like back and forth, like whatever, you know, we will. And we went and took a mutual friend, to go pick up some stuff, and he had done some on our way back, and he pretty much overdosed in the front seat. So shortly after that, we decided, like, there was, you know, some more using, more fights, you know, it was very toxic at that point. We decided we were going to go to detox. And then something clicked one day. I'm a drug addict. I had a problem, and I needed to change something. But trying to figure out what needed to change, I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized it was everything.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to leave inpatient a few times because, like, I wanted my phone. Like, you know, I wanted my energy drinks. Like, stupid reasons. I would come up with anything to be like, oh, this is stupid, I'm leaving. At this point, my kids still were real leery. Like, they weren't, you know, I've made so many promises and broke them so many times, and they didn't believe me anymore. So I had to work my ass off. And I realized, like, you know, that's what I wanted. I wanted my family back. And I went to sober living.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I had not done previously. I just completed and went home.
Mm-hmm.
This time I completed and I went somewhere, or, you know, was almost ready to complete, went somewhere else. And I had to get out of Portsmouth, for me personally. Like, that's home. Mm-hmm. But I had to leave because staying there, it was too many bad memories, and it just kept bringing me back. So I came to Chesapeake. I had never, like, I'd heard of Chesapeake. I had no idea where it was at. They take me out to this house out in the middle of nowhere. My mom had just paid my cell phone bill so I could call my kids. I don't even have service out here. Like, what am I doing out here? Like, and it was the very first day of quarantine last year. It was March 23rd, 2020. I was stuck. I'm in a town where I know nobody, completely stuck, and I didn't know what to do. So I called my sponsor, and I was like, I want to leave. She's like, no, you don't. I'm like, no, really, I want to leave. Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm doing up here. So I started working on my steps. I started trying, you know, I started seeing my mental health provider again. That's one thing, like, you know, a lot of people don't want to admit that they need. I need them.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through a lot of trauma, and I'm trying to not go back. But I ended up meeting people up there. I was really close to some of the girls, but in all honesty, I was a lot closer to, like, the staff. They really pushed me, and I kept pushing for a completion date. I'm like, just let me complete. I worked on my CDCA while I was there. I got everything done. I got it, you know, sent in, but then they were like, we want you to have a year clean. I was 4 months clean. So then I'm like, well, what's the point of me doing the right thing? Like, why am I doing the right thing? Like, I can't even get a job. I can't do this. Like, I'm stuck here. I can't do anything. Why am I here? But then my daughter calls, you know, and it's like, that's why I'm here. So I stayed, and I worked my ass off to get that year clean just so I could get that certificate. I started working for the same company that saved my life, and I've been there since then. August 18th, I hit my 18 months clean, and I got my CDCA. I hit that year, finally got it, and I'm a counselor now. My daughter actually chose to come live with me. We moved up here, which, you know, she's a freshman in high school and just started at a whole new school. So she changed everything too, trying to make things better. You know, so we both are getting our fresh start. My fiance's up here. You know, they're rebuilding their relationship. You know, he's trying to rebuild the relationships with his kids. I have, you know, my son moved back from Tennessee. My older daughter, she comes up and spends like weeks at a time. Like, I have my kids back. I bring my daughter to all of these events. She goes to meetings with me. You know, she's been in the rooms this whole time with me. You know, so it's a family thing. Mm-hmm. You know, like I went from, you know, having it all to losing it all, and I'm rebuilding now. So that's why I love to shop so much, because I can finally replace things that I lost.
Can you talk about what dreams are possible today that would not have been possible in active addiction?
I have a job. When I hit 6 months clean, my mom gave me a car. I was walking everywhere. I had a car, but it blew up, so I didn't try to fix it. So my dreams are like, I'm working in a field that I absolutely love. I have a car, I have a home, my bills are paid. Like, I didn't even have change when I was in active addiction. Like, I have change in my car that kind of got melted with, like, I don't know what, like, but you know, I'm not digging through that today to try to get a pack of cigarettes. I have my family back, and I lost all of that whenever I was in active addiction. So, and I have friends, like real ones, not ones that just want drugs or money, like real, genuine friendships. And like, I'm happy today. It's been a long time since I've been happy. So,
When we talk about recovery, a lot of times it's acceptance, and you know, what does that mean for you?
acceptance.
Mhm.
Oh, I had to practice that quite frequently. My biggest thing with acceptance is I don't get my way all the time. Like, and that's really hard. I have, they say I have control issues, but it's, okay, I do. But like, I've accepted, you know, like, I can't do this on my own. You know, I tried that before. And granted, I had I had 18 and a half years on my own. I can't do it on my own anymore. This disease is killing so many people. And I'm scared. Because, you know, before when I was in active addiction, it was, I'm not going to die. I do meth. Like, you know, but now it's like everybody's dying. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Everything's getting cut with everything. And it's scary. So, like, acceptance to me is just accepting that I can't be in charge of my own life. Like, I have control over my life. I can make choices, but I have to accept that some of my choices aren't what I really need to do. And I have friends that will step in and be like, that's not the right choice. I didn't have that before.
So, if you could share some words of wisdom, that's something that helped you along the way for somebody out there that's struggling, what would those be?
There's so many, like, I used to make fun of people, like, with all of, like, the NA cliches and things like that. But the biggest one is, like, it really does work if you work it. Like, I cannot stress enough, like, you're not going to get clean if you just don't do drugs, because you're still going to, I mean, I guess theoretically you will, but unless you put in the footwork behind it, the likelihood of you staying clean, you know what I mean? Like, so you really have to work for your freedom from the drugs and things. So I used to always hate that one too. But, you know, it really does. It works if you work it, and you die if you don't. Meetings, sponsors, sober support. Change everything. Got to.
Well, thank you so much for coming out today. Your story is absolutely beautiful and is surely going to help somebody out there that's struggling.
Thank you.
And showing there is a way out of active addiction into freedom and of recovery. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When my mom got sober, it just made me a lot happier. I'm not worried all the time about if I'm gonna wake up and my mom be dead. I'm not worried about what's gonna happen in the morning, who's gonna be in the house in the morning, and all that. It's just, it gives me peace of mind, and I'm not always worried with my nerves and anxiety going everywhere.
Absolutely. So if there's somebody out there that is watching this, that, you know, their parents are struggling, or mom or dad is struggling with substance use disorder, what are some words of wisdom that helped you get through a day?
Really just know that they do love you, and that they are fighting a terrible disease that many people are fighting at the same time. And just let them know that you love them and that you want to be a part of their life. But at the same time, don't let them ruin your self-esteem, and don't let their words hurt you, because that's not them. That is the addiction taking over and making them not who they really are. really just a terrible thing that a lot of people fight with. And never be ashamed to tell your part of the story, because there's always going to be someone out there with a similar story, and you're not alone with dealing with it.
What dreams do you have for yourself?
Seeing the things that I went through as a child with addiction in the family, I want to be either a social worker or a therapist, mainly for kids.
That's would be fantastic. Your story is just beautiful, and your courage is amazing. Being able to speak up and share what your experience has been is really wonderful. So thank you so much.